Welcome to What Have You, featuring Rachel Jankovic and Rebecca Merkel. This audio is brought to you by Canon Press. Before we get started, I wanted to make sure you knew that a featured guest of What Have You, Nancy Wilson, has a new podcast called Femina. Every Friday, Nancy shares a quick, Bible-saturated devotional that covers all matters of the Christian life. You can find the Femina podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to What Have You. I'm Rachel Jankovic.
I'm Becca Merkel.
Guys, we were on such a hot streak of not podcasting that I sort of hate to break it. But we're coming to you live at night.
And that's let's just put out
I have faith in us.
Do you? I think you all probably know us well enough to know that if we do it at night,
It might be another one of our great menu planning
or we might
episodes.
throw it away. It could happen.
Nope, we're doing it. We're
Guess
sending
what,
this
though?
one on.
Rachel, I already have a picture to post with this one.
You do?
Yeah, so we can sort of organize our theme around it.
Okay, what is the picture?
Last night we made calzones, and I had various people doing various deeds, and I said to one of my girls, like, oh, can you just go roll out all the dough? Which she did, but she suddenly, at the end of the project, kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, I think I was more thinking about making tortillas. And so they were the most hilarious, rumply-bumply, thin, little raisiny things.
She just rolled it out really thin.
They were delicious, but
thin.
Then you have this little calzone that looks like a really sad little waddle of dough, sort of stretched thinly over a mushroom shape. You know?
That sounds ideal.
And I think that there's a lot about that I identify with right now.
Yeah.
I feel it in my soul, the thin stretch over a mushroom shape.
Oh
my word.
Yep,
There's
I
so
see your
much.
point.
There's so much. So we have to go back and say
I don't
that,
think anybody cares about all the things that kept us.
No, but let's say that maybe 2 of the 3 things were my fault, but 1 of them was Rachel's. Maybe 1.5.
I take less. I just don't. I won't take.
She's trying to pin the blame.
I pin the blame firmly on Becca. That's
well,
how
it wasn't all my fault, guys. But we did have the Reformation banquet, which was really the biggest reason, I think, in the middle that this didn't happen. The podcast did not happen.
Maybe
and
might have been.
It was my annual time of trying to feed several hundred people in a building that has no.
I do want to say, Gemma posted
kitchens.
pictures, very pretty pictures of it. But I did want to say to the people listening that this was a college event that the college pays for, and that people pay to bring guests to and such. It was not just. It was not like our replacement for a church potluck.
It's not a church event. It's a college.
I know, but I mean, it's not like we do beautiful crown roasts of pork instead of a regular church potluck. That was my point.
What we do instead of a church potluck is not do church potlucks.
But if we did,
all
I was trying to say is it's clearly a big event. It's a big college event, but it's not like what we just do for no particular reason. You're not just making that many crown roasts of pork.
We've been doing it. I counted up. This was the 26th college banquet. And it's always a Reformation Day. Somewhere around Reformation Day, and for the last 4 years, it's been at CJ's with no kitchen, and so that's been my big troubleshoot.
I want you all to know that we weren't just not podcasting due to the presidential troubles.
Although
we could have been.
Maybe we were being censored by all the social media
guys, we should
outlets.
pretend that we just did an amazing hot take on politics for a few episodes, and they couldn't take our insights, and they banned us.
knocked us right off.
That's what we should. I would say,
Yeah.
though, just by way of encouragement to all of you who might not be as so pleased with how things appear to be going, and that is that I just keep thinking that in every, I think pretty much in every generation, God has called his people to different kinds of hard things. And I was thinking how if we believed everything that we believe and we wanted to build Christian communities and build the kingdom and do all these things, in other eras, it might have been all of our husbands and sons and brothers having to go off to war while we stayed home and needed to rejoice in the Lord. And
or being lugged in by the Spanish Inquisition.
Or being put our own selves
or getting into ships
in
to
prison camps.
try to go across the Atlantic.
Why don't we try a new
hopefully.
country and see if when we get there we know how to grow anything?
See if there's hostile people waiting for us.
I think in some ways it's just, well, actually in a lot of ways, it's so healthy for us to have things. Because I was talking with some friends about this, how when you're living a life of leisure, like you have a certain amount of capacity for trouble. When you are living a luxurious and leisurely life, you can bear quite a bit of trouble that is your own sin trouble. That is just the trouble of, I'm having a tood today, so all day long I'm going to have a tood and I'm going to complain to everyone I get a shot at about it. I'm probably going to post, vague book complaints to get people to text me and see if I'm all right, and then I'll tell them, no, I am not. You have no idea how difficult this is right now, because and just being complainers and being soft, like we actually have room for our own trouble when we are living a life of leisure. And one of the great things is it's like not that I have personal experience with this. My experience is of the Bible story variety, like from the way I pictured this from the time I was little. When Jonah's on the boat and they're throwing everything overboard because they're just trying to survive the storm. Yeah. In some ways, being in an actual difficulty gives us less sympathy with our own, like if you're going to live, if your goal is to be faithful, then you have to throw overboard the terrible baggage that you actually no longer can accommodate in rough seas. For sure. And we cannot pretend like we don't deserve every bit of what's coming at us. Plus, we have a loving Father who has taken us out behind the woodshed to show us a little something. Well, I don't even feel like we're there yet. We just but we could be. The paddle has been gotten out. Not only could we be, the willow branch has been cut off. Has been prepared. Yeah. And you feel like, I see it coming. But the reality is, praise the Lord that he is actually doing what he wants to see done. This is a really good time to be a Calvinist, because you're like, please, because I'm freezing. I was going to say, one problem that I didn't foresee about being in our car is that our heat fan is being really abnormal. It sounds like it's got the hiccups. Ours made a horrible grinding noise and then stopped. Okay. I did check to make sure we wouldn't run out of gas. Good job. Because I was like, if we sit in the wintry days in the car with the heat on the whole time. And, speaking of wintry days, everyone, let me tell you about the weather. Like 2 weeks ago, we were just about to hit the beautiful fall leaves moment. And I live on this gorgeous corner, and it's always like yellow, like this incredible arches of yellow maple. And seriously, it's the most beautiful corner. Not so 2020. Well, no, 2020 had other ideas. But the thing is we were gearing up for the day, and it's usually about a day and a half that is the street and the ground. Everything is just gold on the ground. There are still enough leaves on the trees that it's just gold up there. And then the leaves are just thick raining down. And it is my favorite thing ever. And I always am waiting. And a couple years I have been out of town for that day and a half. And you come back and it's like, oh no, the branches are thin and now all the leaves on the ground, whatever. Well, this year we got a wild snap of a snowstorm. And it happened before the leaves had even hit that yet. It was Judah's last football game of the season. At halftime, oh my word, that's right. It was snowing. It was miserable. It was wet in the stands. The field was covered in snow. It just looked horrible. The poor guys out there. Judah's hands were so numb. He was holding the ball, he had to
snap the ball. I don't understand football. It's really bad. He was the guy that threw it between his legs. And he was like, my hands were so numb. I couldn't even feel what I was doing with the ball, you know. But anyway, so that was happening on the field. Well, at halftime, a tree fell on a power line somewhere. All the lights went out, and that was that. That was the end of the season.
End of the season. It's so appropriate to everything.
And then we
that's
come
happened.
home, and the whole town's power is out. And then all the branches, because the leaves were all on the trees still, it was way too heavy. And all the branches are just crashing off trees everywhere. So the power is just going out like mad.
The power went out so hard. Like, it was not like a little outage. The power had a heart attack. And it was a big one. And it had to, But we still had power. Like, the football game ended. We still had power out there. I was like, well, good luck us having power. And then it went out. But I've never experienced anything like that because we were so bored in our house with the lights off that we were like, let's just go to bed because what are we going to do? I mean, who wants to sit around peering at each other in the glow of a flashlight? So we didn't. So we were like, let's go to bed. So the way that our house is, we're on a hill out in the country. So there's no immediate lights right by us. There's like a neighbor that has a light on a pole down the hill somewhere. And then there's a couple of houses we can see from our house. But there's nobody right next to us. And there's no street lights right next to us. And we're just on a hill in the country. Yeah. And we all go the way our house is. Upstairs, we have bedrooms on all four sides of the house upstairs. So everybody goes to their own rooms because we all went up there. So everybody gets in their jammies or whatever. But all of us in the pitch black facing all directions. Okay, it must have been some major electrical surge or something. Because how many miles outside of town are we anyways? 5? I mean, maybe not 5. Maybe 4, 3, 4. But something happened and the entire sky lights up orange, like orange and then off, and then orange and then off. And it does this like 4 times. Oh no. And it was just hilarious because it was like we had a member of our family at every window to check what was. And the thing is, it appeared to come from nowhere. Like, I would have expected to hear a monster explosion. Yeah. But no sound effects came with it. Just the country sky has lit up orange. Yeah. It was kind of like Moscow's power situation was in its death throes.
Yeah, we got our power back. Went to bed, woke up. I was still drinking my coffee, and suddenly there was a loud bang from like a block away, and then out it went again.
I know that sound from when a squirrel did it at our old house, and it electrocuted itself on a transformer.
Well, and then it was just freezing, and everything was off, and it was a Saturday, which meant like I can't use the washer and dryer, I can't use the dishwasher, like everything's on the blink.
It was a Saturday, so we told everyone no Sabbath unless we get our power back on by lunchtime, and at 12:06 it turned back on.
Well,
so then we were like, move it.
I know, get her done.
Turn on the dishwasher.
The thing I'd like to bring to your attention, though, is that after the smoke cleared from that incident, and then the snow melted and everything, all the trees were khaki. They were colored khaki.
They still are.
And they were sort of curled at the edges and just horrible fleshy color.
It really has been like a khaki-scape of trees.
And then we got another snowstorm last night, and so the leaves are still on the trees. And then the snow's on the ground, and then
it's falling on top of leaves. It is intermingled with brown leaves,
which makes a little like horrible patty of like slick leaf underneath the snow. And then more leaves fall on top of the snow, and we still have huge limbs in our yard that we haven't even cleaned up from the last one. And one of our trees is now doing the splits from the top.
A bunch of trees in town did the topward splits. And then where it actually just weighted the trees apart.
And like a branch on my pear tree, my really nice pear tree, the one that was doing well, just fell off and peeled down the trunk.
We're been having Ecclesiastes hardcore.
Yeah, we're kind of like, well, everyone, look what you've done.
Look what we bringed upon
I know,
ourselves.
and you can't even rake the leaves now because there's snow all over them, and you can't. I mean,
Becca,
the snow looks horrible. It's just a little bit
It'd be good to just hit your lawn with a snowblower. Kind of mashing up the implements of season.
What we need is just to get all the leaves to fall off, and then maybe another good foot of snow over the top to just cover the madness, and then we can address it in the springtime. I don't know.
I think we're in for a year of slush. I think that's what we. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm not sure we're supposed to have good weather right now.
Probably slush mixed with leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we deserve it.
We
Whatever
do
it
deserve
is, we deserve it.
We do.
So.
It's amazing, though. I was telling you,
I
I'm like,
feel,
next year, when the seasons progress in the correct order, I'm just going to really revel in that.
The Lord did give us a little foothold by A Street construction being done.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does feel
That
like
was
at least
big.
one thing got less complicated.
One thing was good.
So now when you go to school, you
You
don't
know,
have to do a weird
I'll tell
switchy
you.
change-o up into a neighborhood and...
I was acting in real faith, and I ordered a lot of bulbs. And I ordered a bunch of tulips and grape hyacinth and daffodils and allium. So I had a whole bunch to put in, and I had dug up all my hyacinth last year and mixed the bulbs up because I'd been putting in one bag a year down the fence, and they were starting to look like a box of crayons because they weren't quite all the same color. So I dug them all up, and I was going to mix them and then put them back in. And I was going to mix those with the tulips. And I was looking at the weather, and I had one day, because I've not had Saturdays, all my Saturdays have been booked. I had one day before the snow was supposed to come again. So I was like, this is my big shot. It was one sliver. So I came running home from school, and I had a phone appointment. So I'm talking to someone on the phone, pinned to my shoulder, because I don't have, like, AirPods or anything. And it's pouring rain. So I'm out in the mud slop trying to talk on the phone to somebody about a serious situation. And I am, like, trying to dig in 100 million tulips. Bulbs. I stay until way past it's too dark. I'm still trying to desperately get all the daffodils in. And I had looked at the daffodils and I was like, I have to do it. This is my only chance. Got them all in, straggled myself back up the stairs to the house, feeling like, well, at least I did that. And got up on the porch and I was like, I forgot the tulips. I didn't put in any tulips. I have or grape hyacinth. And I was going to mix them in.
So what did you put in?
All my old hyacinth bulbs plus new ones. All the allium, all the daffodil. But I meant to mix my tulips with the hyacinth. And I forgot. And I have like 100 bulbs of tulips and a bunch of grape hyacinth.
You can give them to me if you want.
Oh, my word. I was so peeved. I was like, well, that's it. And then it snowed, and now I don't know what I'm going to do about it.
Well,
I might, in a last desperate shot, just put them all in terracotta pots and stick them outside. I don't know, guys. This is where I am. Homeless tulip bulbs.
I have never... I don't even know if you say it panettone or panettone. You know that
I would have totally gone with
panettone.
Pantone. Are you talking about the colors?
No, I'm talking about the Italian holiday bread.
I was like, it's never occurred to me to get fancy with that one. I like the idea of the panettone color of the year.
I don't even know how you say it. I never checked, but I'm guessing since it's an Italian bread that it's panettone, but I don't know.
Right,
I have no
sure.
idea. But I'm willing to be wrong and no need to bother correcting me. I'll just do it wrong forever. So I was like, I wonder if I need to make that this year. It's possible I need to make that. And then I asked Lena, I was like, should I make panettone, like a sourdough panettone this year? And she was like, what is that even? She said, it just feels to me like something they probably sell at Ross. And I was like, I think it's because they do. They sell gift boxes of panettone at Ross.
Yep.
But I'm not hoping to make
A
Ross
version,
edition. Yeah.
Oh.
But I got, this is the fatal error for me. I've never actually wanted to eat one. Like never. I've never felt that way. But I just found out through my sourdough baking network that when you make one of these things, that you have to you have to hang it upside down to cool.
There's a lot of that appeals.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
because
quick.
Really? Tell me more.
To find
if
out.
I have to hang this upside down, then and somebody was like, here's the clever way I do this: sticking dowels through the bottom, because you bake it in a paper thing, in a paper mold. You stick dowels through the bottom first, so that when you pull it out of the oven, you hang it between like 2 chairs or something, because apparently it's so lofty and soft that if it stays upright to cool, it will collapse on itself.
That's pretty cool.
And so see, now I'm like, well, now I'm in.
Do it.
Now I have to get my own candied orange peels going, so I have the stuff to make a panettone, of which I have no idea what it ought to taste or why or what event you need to eat it on. Like, I don't know. What do you do? Do you just have it with?
Oh man.
I'll
tell you. You know what?
Coffee? Do you think you have it with coffee?
Strange mental spree I've been on.
Sure. Tell me more.
Sort of like your panettone.
Yeah.
Rachel, you can grow saffron crocus here. So I have been Googling around.
Would you need a food dehydrator to keep the
so I've been reading
just air dry
up about the crocus harvest. Yes, the saffron crocus harvest. And it's so beautiful.
I wonder if you can grow them with alliums and tulips.
Yeah, well, I know. No, I've been checking, but you don't plant them in the fall. They're spring planted bulbs. And they flower in the fall. Yeah. Oh. And they're like those fall crocus. And you just cut all the crocuses and then pull the stamen out, which is the saffron.
If only we were cooking with saffron in a constant way.
Well,
you're ready? Are you ready to get going with it?
We could plant a whole lot of bulbs, and we'd come out with probably just about as much saffron as I use in a decade. So it'd be worth it for sure.
Oh, Becca, today because
but in the spring,
Sunday,
Rachel, you and we can plant saffron crocus.
Yeah, well, I will tell you that today, being a Sunday, I was doing the Sunday type restful activities, which means I was working with my loom.
Yeah,
trying to get myself outfitted for my next project on the loom. And I am just not proficient enough at the loom yet to do it intuitively. So I'm glued to the informations that I need.
Yeah.
But this is like the pattern, the weaving draft, then a book that came with the loom, then another book I have. And it is like,
this is like me when I try to change my serger stitch.
Yes, it's like trying to do Sudoku or something. Like you're down there at like, use your brain, Rachel, use your brain.
It's like, I'm taking physics. This should be possible.
Why can I not? I'm like, I don't even know why this is so strenuous. Like it, but it is really funny. And I took a picture of this because it was making me laugh. This is the level of, these are the things it tells me. And it feels like, can you still remember when you were learning to read, or like something where you get to some point where you're kind of almost having an out of body experience, like thinking, like you're having to trust your instinct, but your instinct is not trustworthy.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe.
This was starting with the shaft and the short lamb farthest from you. Thread the cord from the lower shaft bar down through the center hole in the lamb. Attach with an anchor pin on the bottom side of the lamb, inserting the 2 legs of the pin into the hole in the lamb. The lambs can be horizontal to the floor if you are tall. If you want to tie the treadles higher for comfort, this is...
Yeah,
and see. Everything. And then I'm going like, wait. The lower lambs lift the shaft or not? And then I'm like, consult all the documents. But I'm doing all of this from hunkered down under the loom. Like I'm sitting down under there. Anyways, it's a rewarding experience. I'm getting close to success. But
that's good. I'm glad to hear it.
Well,
what are you trying to make?
I think I'm getting close to success. I've already got it warped. It's warped and threaded and everything for dish towels, for a long flight of dish towels, but 13 to be exact.
Well, I'll tell you that I have been having a real mental merry-go-round because I'm planning to carpet with seagrass my bedroom over Thanksgiving break. And I have the roll of carpet at my house. I called every flooring place in the region and said, do you carry seagrass? And they all said, I don't know what that is, or is that a color? Or so I was like, right then, okay. So I just ordered this huge roll from somewhere, and it came, and I'm gonna have to do it my own self.
How do you carpet with that? It seems like it might unravel a bit on the edges.
I know there's ways, but the thing that you do that is surprising is you consult YouTube. And you find out that here is a niche that no one has filled.
I love when that's it. You're like, have I been nominated to be the person?
No, because it's like you could say,
and that's actually,
you could Google, I dropped a pistachio down my heat vent. What do I do now? And you will find like a flotilla of videos of people who are going to help you get through that.
Do you think? Yeah. I recently pioneered a whole new way to get a sock out of your vacuum tube.
Okay, you better pause and go there.
It was stuck around. It was really obnoxiously stuck. Like, really obnoxiously. I was just trying to catch dust bunnies under our bed, and how would I have known that Moses had balled up a sock and it was under there? So it was a small sock that was already balled up, so it just shot into the tube and lodged at the turning, really annoying structure of a vacuum hose, because if it would just be something you could like ram a dowel down it, but it turns, so you can't. It was at the turn, you couldn't
get your plumbing snake out.
Exactly. It was like that level. I should have thought of the plumbing snake, but I didn't think about plumbing snake. But I broke a cheap corkscrew to attach a metal piece that I saw thereon to the end of a plastic wooden spoon so that I could ram it down and then twist it around to like catch the sock, like it was like fishing for a sock in the hose.
Man.
And I got it up. But what you were saying is that nobody's filled this, so you're going to have to be the one.
Because the thing is I did find out how to do it, but it was through the carpeting place that I bought it from. Like, they have all the logistics, and it's all very it's all very scripted. However, nobody on the interwebs, there's a few things, but they seem dodgy and untrustworthy, and you just don't know what you're looking at. One of them, I think, involved double-sided tape across the floor in a grid, and I was kind of
I almost wonder if you should just go in for stapling it.
It's actually, it's a heavy-duty glue situation, which I don't mind at all, because it's this horrible trash floor beneath it, so that's fine. But anyway, I have that, but first, before I do that, I need to paint my room, because it's a really sad tragedy on the walls right now. And we cut a big slice out of the sheetrock for a plumbing thing, and it's still open, and then there's just a million holes, and I need to just get the walls cleaned up and then paint. So then you sit there and you're like, what do I want to paint? What am I looking for? What is the vibe? What are we aiming for here in the look and the feel and the ambiance? In the end, I found the color. It was I love this a lot. It's just really, really good.
Well, that's good.
It's a color that, of course, it is from England. And it's made with, natural pigments, not the synthetic ones, which I think is why it looks so lovely. And I emailed, and nope, they don't send it here. I can't get it. I can't get my hands on it. So now I'm like, well,
Now my heart is broken.
Now my heart is broken. I'm going to have to find out.
Out of all the Pantone colors in all the world, you had to pick one that only exists in England.
Exists in England. They won't send it to me because they're probably mad about Trump. But anyway.
Anyway. When you said that nobody on the internet has filled this void, that is remarkable, because I'm sure I've said this on here. I still think it's funny. The time that I was having a weird discussion where I posited, for who knows why, I took the position that carrot cake was probably a medieval
Yeah.
Who knows why that came up? But I was like, carrots are so naturally sweet that I bet that people were using them as a rare treat a long time before they were using regular.
Or at least as dessert, kind
yeah,
of.
like before they
Yeah.
were using honey. I mean, not honey. They were using honey.
They were
forever.
doing that for a while.
Sugar. What I was saying is before sweeteners were that available, or they were just really expensive. I was guessing. I posited that there was probably a raisiny carrot cake all the way back in the old times.
Probably.
Whatever. This led me to Google up carrot cake, and one of the first things that came up.
An illuminated manuscript.
How to make a carrot cake. And it's like someone has put the time in here to make an answer.
Of course they have.
You know, I mean, what was this, like a WikiHow or
They
something?
probably bought their own domain
Oh,
first.
they're like, guys,
How to make a carrot cake.
how to make a carrot cake.com. Step 1, buy a carrot cake box mix.
I always love those.
Step
I always
2,
love those.
do the things it says on the back. And I'm like, is it possible that someone out there was like, let's Google how to make a carrot cake, and was like, a box mix. Like, but maybe it is. Maybe it got a ton of really helpful information votes. Like, thank you for telling me that this is how we make carrot cake.
You can get a box. Well,
I like how I remember that vividly, but I can't recall. I think I did find that carrot cakes had an old past.
I'm sure
But
they
I don't
did.
remember the deets on that.
I feel like that's the real. I mean, I'm probably going to be too offensive right now. Should I go there? Should I offend our international followers? Maybe. The thing is, I feel like that.
I'm waiting. I'm curious which way this is about to
Christmas
go.
pudding is a good example of this. I think that you had to grow up with it, and then you had
So
to
you know its values.
It goes back to the time when they didn't know about real dessert. But now it's
In these
now it's
newfangled times.
It's acquired a real following, and people pass
Right.
it to their children. And it is true that, like, the only one I ever ate, I bought it from Sainsbury's, and I probably did it totally wrong, and we did light it on fire, but I had made a backup dessert because I had a feeling about it. And it was a
Was it for the best?
it was a premonition that turned out to be true. It was a real weird thing
An
that we
accurate
had.
premonition.
Well, it's like
I do
black
wanna
and
say-
soggy.
I think, yeah.
And you boil
I can
it.
see it bringing
boil
you down.
it, Rachel.
Yeah.
Boiled. After sitting in a cupboard for like a year and a day. It sits in a cupboard for a year and a day, and then you boil it. And you're like,
Becca, you are being offensive.
oh, sorry,
you are
guys.
being
This
offensive.
is what happens when we go at night.
You're gonna get a lot of hate mail over this.
No, or somebody send me a lovely Christmas pudding and tell me how to do it
Tell
right.
me what gives on that. Yeah, Becca doesn't know
No,
how.
I went
so
to a
help her.
stir-up Sunday party, and it was lovely, and they read the collect for the day, and we all stirred it up, and we all looked in that bowl, and I was like, what is that? And it was like, it's black, and what are those little white grainy things? And they said, suet. And so when I looked it up when I
little bit
got
of fat,
home, it's a
little bit
little
of
bit
fat.
of grated up beef fat.
Yeah,
And
but
then
what is the
a lot
what's-
of
what makes it black?
dried raisins, treacle.
Oh, well, once you get to that treacle, I start to think maybe there's something in it. I might like it.
It's real black with treacle. There's a lot of like orange rind floating around in there, and then a million raisins and dried bits of things.
Since we are on the international flavors,
Then stick it in a cupboard for a long time and drench it with brandy every so often.
So we're getting into the international insults of food. I feel like
we shouldn't. We
okay,
should.
but
we
we're
should.
Slovenian. We
Oh,
covenantally-
you've already insulted this on the podcast, and people came back and told you that you were very wrong.
What?
Whatever your Slovenian dish was that you insulted. You said it didn't
I-
taste good at all. It was like a weird stew of bad news.
I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, you did. And people were like,
But-
that's so bad because it's delicious. You only have to do it right. And
Wait, I don't remember any of this. Are
Oh.
you sure that I did
yeah,
that?
I'm sure.
Okay, but was it pizza? Because
Yep.
oh man, Because see, I still have my feelings hurt about Petitza because
the poetry is there.
Yes, and actually,
Same with Christmas pudding.
I believe that I'm making something beautiful when I make Petitza now, and it's just radically inauthentic. So but I feel like I've brought something. I've brought something that they should have thought of, but they didn't. So I'm just gonna step in and make this taste better, because the problem is you're eating a thing that is got to be like 12 zillion calories.
Okay.
Because it is butter, it is cream, it is honey, it is nuts. Like, surely that should taste good. But it tastes like nothing.
Is this...
No flavor.
I thought it was a stew of Slovenian descent that you were insulting. Did you make a Slovenian stew?
No.
So it must have been
I do. I make beef soup, but I wouldn't have insulted it because we like it.
Interesting.
So, no, Petitza is like, and it's really interesting because it is a way deeper culturally than anything is in our culture. Like any food. Mm-hmm. We went to we felt it was providential that we ran into a flyer about learning about lovely Slovenia. And we're like, well, yes, we will go to that event in a small local town's library.
Oh, yeah, right.
So we went to hear this presentation. And so we heard it straight from the Slovenian woman's mouth who was presenting that Petitza is all the rage.
Yeah,
and
right.
that she was like, we do it in this shape for funerals and weddings. We do it in this shape for graduations. We have Petitza in other shapes for birthdays. I was like, it's like they do Petitza all the time.
Right.
And so, and I know that they eat it, and see, this will catch your attention. They eat a slice of this stuff that's like a bread with walnuts and honey and cinnamon and cream and butter with horseradish and ham.
Oh.
So that's a thing.
That's kind of weirdly impressive.
Yeah, I think my kids are hearkening to their heritage when I make harvest morning buns, which is like, it's like a molasses sourdough thing that has craisins and pecans in it. And they love it toasted with butter and sharp cheese and ham. Like, they love that.
It sounds amazing.
It actually is quite good. I mean, I get it. But I make the dang thing, and it just... You can't even taste it. Like, you're like, how is this so decadent without flavor? And so
then you're like, should I get tested for COVID?
I haven't made Petitza since the times of COVID. Although I did laugh at them. There was a prayer at church today, and I did get the giggles during it because it was something about, it was Tim Edwards praying about the idolatry in our country and whatever, and he was saying, we can't see, we cannot hear. I was like, we definitely can't taste or smell right now. We've lost all of our senses.
So, now that I have gone on the record of being rude and ugly about Christmas pudding, I love the poetry of it because they stir it up on Stir Up Sunday, which is actually coming up soon. So maybe I should give it a whirl.
Let's make one together on a What Have You video, and we can make Petitza and a Christmas pudding. So guys, now before you get offended, know that we were already do penance for these comments.
Yeah, we're sorry, guys. We're sorry. No, the thing is the year that I made the Christmas pudding, I was in because I was like, I'm going to make a goose. And I got a Christmas pudding, and I made the Nigella potatoes that you cook in goose fat, which were, like, unbelievably good. But anyway, the goose had its whole... This brings us full circle to your panettone, because that was probably what drew me to the goose, was the fact that you have to hang it upside down in an open window for a while. Like on a clothes hanger contraption.
Well, like, how much is the loveliness of pies about that iconicness of setting a pie in a windowsill?
And I was like, this is a very kind of like Dickensian sort of thing. And
not that we England, like Dickens that much.
No, but it's Victorian England, you know? It's like, I should do this. We're here for Christmas. I really got very into mince pies. I adored those. And the hot spice wine and the mince pies, that's the whole thing. I really love that. But I just couldn't wrap my head around the situation with the Christmas. But I didn't even know what shape it was supposed to look like when it came out. It was just like a weird, muffly black thing. The goose was good. But anyway, I made a separate dessert and it was better. But I've never returned to the Christmas pudding. But Stir Up Sunday is somewhere around Thanksgiving, so it's still coming. We still have time.
I've really been adapting my life to I'm working really hard to go on a different level of bulk food preparation right now.
Yeah.
It's been a part of my life
idea.
now. This is like a thing I strive to do. And it is little bits at a time. I am getting the hang of it. You know, like I'm starting to get I'm starting to be like, oh wait, I think I'm starting to figure out a new lifestyle for myself.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. It's complicated and weird. But this has led me to my next phase. And I always love when this happens. Where for years I feel like I'd walk past those like Food Saver, the vacuum sealing food storage devices. And I would just be like, I don't see the need for this. Like, I don't, why would I want something else that would be like this?
Yeah, it's like if you hunt and you really need to do something with all your elk.
Maybe I started hunting. Maybe that's what happened. Yeah. I was all of a sudden like, gotta go get a Food Saver.
Did you get one?
Got one.
How is it?
I haven't used it yet.
Oh.
But this is because I got 40 pounds of chicken that I intend to make into chicken sausage. And as I went down this mental path of my chicken
40
sausage.
pounds of chicken sausage.
Yeah.
All right. I'm with you.
I should put in here, and it's odd. I am aware of this being unique in our family. We much prefer chicken sausage in sausage situations.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, you had spaghetti at our house. That's
no,
chicken
I love
sausage.
that. That was really good. But I tried to recreate it at my house. It was not good. It was a different brand, I think.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, it's specifically the Acerno's hot chicken sausage.
Okay.
And we really like it. It's spicy, but the thing is that I don't like the fat that sausage brings. Like, if sausage leaks a ton of fat into your sauce, it makes everything heavy.
Yep.
The chicken sausage somehow keeps, like, the tomato really bright. Like, it's like a hot, spicy sausage with still a really bright tomato, and it doesn't have that heavy greasiness of...
Yeah.
And that's why we love it.
Are you going to try smaller batches of your sausage mix before you do it with all 40 pounds?
Well, yes and no both. Because I have to salt all of it. And then put it in the fridge, like, at least overnight. It has to, like, sit around salted to be made into sausage. Because I guess that, like, roughs
After
up...
it's ground or before it's ground?
Before you grind it. It roughs up the edges of the protein so that they will maybe rebond to each other. So the texture of the sausage is better if you salt it first. So, whatever, I didn't know I was getting into quite such a scene. I think then you season it and you grind it, like, shoot it through the grinder with the spices. But... I'll probably just microwave a tiny bit of it and taste it and see if it is what I wanted to eat.
Yeah, I can see that. Because I end up making about 15 pounds of pork sausage often because of soup night. So, and nobody carries 15 pounds of sausage. So you're either running from store to store to store to store to gather up all the sausage, or I just buy a bunch of ground pork and then mix up my own. So I have been doing that, but the thing is it's I know that I'm not really making sausage. I'm just seasoning ground pork, which is not the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know much about actually making sausage.
I don't either, but I have a meat grinder and I got the chicken and I'm going to try to figure it out. I feel the reason it's worth it is that the chicken is way, way cheaper than the sausage.
Yeah.
And because we eat that often enough. It is actually the main thing that I like to have in the freezer. Like the quickest thing to thaw and make. Because if you just have some veggie of some kind, you can make a quick, like, sausage pasta veggie if you have. So you can get by with some of that sausage. It's the handiest.
Right.
But it's not the cheapest way to purchase. I mean, like, it's more expensive than ground beef. You know, like, we just like it better. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's what I'm planning to try. And I also got a ton of ground beef that's in the freezer right now. So I'm going to do something with that too. Some think ahead.
That's festive.
I know. Well, why was I talking about? Oh, what I was saying is I love how I went for a long time feeling that a food saver was the last thing I needed until all of a sudden you're
Suddenly,
like,
there you are.
quick, now! We have to
Yeah.
buy the food saver now. Now I'm going to do it. But it made me think I have this theory, and it might be deeply dumb. I may be having a horrible theory.
Okay.
But I like it anyways.
All right. I'm ready.
So sometimes I make a bunch of muffins or breakfast foods, or it's like for us breakfast / after school snack is what it is. Because if I make muffins, those are the times people eat them.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I will make a bunch of them so that I can freeze some. So I'll make like a big batch of bran muffins, a big batch of chocolate protein muffins, and then I'll put some of them under the little dome on the counter, and then I'll freeze them so that you can keep slow releasing these things.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that if I made assortments of good breakfast baked goods and food saved them, then I could freeze them for a lot, like an assortment altogether.
Oh, nice.
Frozen. See,
Although then you'd have to know who wanted what, and you'd be bound to have frozen your panettone and 2 chocolate muffins, and everybody wanted the panettone.
Now that I have the food saver, I'm like, perhaps I should make my Christmas Danishes right now and freeze them and food saver them in a thing. Because we all know that what the world needs is more like vacuum sealed baggery in my freezer. Yeah, anyways, whatever. Yeah. These are the things that preoccupy me. But I love the bulk. Seriously, bulk is really doing it for me. Like,
well, I'm behind you, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, but but this is the thing, is that if I'm ordering food to be delivered somehow in bulk, and if I do that, then if I get a whole bunch of something, like I got a whole bunch of butternut squash, and then I just roasted all the squashes whole in the oven, right? And then, gutted them and peeled them, but I froze all of the roasted butternut squash already in the fridge. So when I had a soup night and I was making butternut squash soup, it was like
easy to
so much faster because I boil the broth and get the chicken and everything going, and then I'm just dumping the butternut squash in it. So
I'm just gonna tell you
major
that
shortcuts.
I saw on Half Baked Harvest Instagram page something that looked real gorgeous, and I think it was butternut squash, but it was peeled and halved and roasted like Hasselback, so in thin slices. It was really pretty, but she said she always does it for Thanksgiving, which I thought was a fun
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, she pulled it up. Isn't that pretty?
Very pretty.
I thought that looked like a good idea.
Yeah, I might need to try that. Sage butter. Yum.
Also, can you tell everyone that Rachel and I haven't really seen hide nor hair of each other at all in the last few weeks, because we've spent this whole time chatting and not being edifying at all.
I need to burn down all of our chit chat to get to edifying talk.
We should have done that, so we could have talked about confessing your sins.
We'll just do a second episode right now, and we'll just get right back down to edifying business.
I mean, look at how long we've gone, and we haven't even talked about, like, get your act together, people.
Thanksgiving is coming. Your time to be in sin is drawing near.
You might already have, tagged that base.
Tagged the sinful base?
Well, because there's always the possibility that you're feeling mad about who's coming to your house or who's not coming, or whose house you have to go to this year instead of the other one that you wanted to go to, or to the people who were going to be
or to someone who looked down their nose at your offer to host it, or
they sent you the Marnie letter.
So much is possible already.
So,
Thanksgiving this year falls upon
your birthday.
My 40th,
I just saw
my 40th
that.
birthday.
I saw that because I was writing out the month in my planner and having a look-see at what's coming. And
Yeah.
I was like, when will I carpet my bedroom with seagrass? Oh, Rachel's birthday's on Thanksgiving.
This year was, I think, my first year. I'm not trying to say I've never forgotten a sibling's birthday, but this year I did a double hot streak of August, Nate's birthday, that I talked to him on his birthday without noticing it was his birthday, and I
Okay.
said nothing about it. Realized it later, that I was
Yeah.
like, oh my word,
Yeah.
And you too. Maybe
That's
you
right. No,
were you
I
at
remember
my
that.
house, or did I see you
Yeah,
somewhere?
no, we got together and did something, I think.
And I called Becca and Heather on Mom's birthday. This is peak thoughtfulness. I was like, it's Mom's birthday. I'll call Becca and say, Becca, it's Mom's birthday. And I called you, and I called Heather. And while I was doing this, I hadn't realized that I'd missed a call from Mom. So Mom had called me. So by the time I break through to someone, they were both in the car with Mom, who had invited us all to go get a coffee, and I was the one who ignored the call, but knew it was her birthday. And Becca and Heather were both squirreled away in her car, getting taken out for coffee, and hadn't remembered that it was her birthday.
It was really bad. Although, to be fair, I did remember it like that morning. I just didn't remember it when I was in the car.
But the thing that made it so funny is I think I called you and you didn't pick up because you were like, whatever, I'll talk to her later. But then I called Heather and Heather picked up, and then Heather was like, and then Heather's like, it's your birthday? And I'm like, are you with her? So basically,
Yeah, we've been coordinated.
I tell you this just so that all of you know that we take birthdays really seriously, and we get
Yeah.
our feelings hurt if people forget about them.
Excessive hurt.
And it ruins
Yeah.
everything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's like that.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. So, did you
Yeah.
want to try to say something edifying real quick, Beck?
Whoa. I think we've kind of, run past
we
that
use-
turn off.
really?
I mean, don't
Really?
you? I mean, we could say, look how far into this we are. Everybody,
We're
check
way past the
check out
edification station.
Panettone. Maybe don't
Now
check
you
out
know.
a
If
Christmas
you know
pudding.
of any other baked goods that have to be hung upside down, let us know, because that's all it takes to get us on board. And one time, Luke and I made homemade pasta in our apartment that was so small that we had to clear out the guest closet so we could hang up all the noodles.
Oh, I forgot.
We had all the fettuccine hanging in the hall closet
That is really funny.
so that we might,
Mhm.
not have it stuck together on our counter that was about 6 inches long. So yeah.
I've been, from being in a place where I basically never ever make homemade pasta, I sometimes do, but I don't feel like I'm in my peak phase of life where homemade pasta's a thing. I have a pasta roller outer machine-y thing, and the little, can cut it and stuff, but it's not one of my most highly used articles right now. But that said, I am really kind of having this horrible need for this beautiful little rotary pasta cutter thing that makes this amazing edge on the noodles. So if you're doing pappardelle, you can do this crazy beautiful scalloped edge. It's very neat.
Where
And
did
I'm
you find it?
Let's see.
But Becca, could you hang it upside down?
You
If
could. You could hang it to dry.
Hey, do you think it harks back
But
to
I'm
our
like-
childhood of Mom putting angel food cakes upside down on a
Maybe on a bottle.
2-liter Pepsi bottle, the glass Pepsi bottle?
Yeah, maybe. But I'm like, I don't need that thing because I don't make pasta often enough to deserve that thing. Someday when I'm really
I went
whipping
on
out
a
pastas.
streak of feeling like I wasn't a real cook unless I could make pasta in a flour well.
In a flour well. I've
Yeah,
been
on
there.
the
I've done
counter,
that.
yeah.
And it always sprouts a leak
It's
out.
actually amazing because there's no
high stakes like that in the kitchen.
No,
because
there's not.
If you're running eggs, start running for the edge of the counter, it's all over. Because
But see, you can't. They go so fast. If it breaks out the side of your flour well.
no, it's gone.
It's
on your
shooting
shoes.
off your counter.
It's on your shoes.
But it is also like an egg-based paper mache.
Yes.
It's unbelievably awful to clean up.
I wondered though.
I got good at it.
I was
bet I
wondering
lost my skill,
about
though.
the noodle boards. Have you seen noodle boards? And I wondered if that was the reason
The
for
ones
a
with
noodle board.
guitar strings? Or... I can tell from your face. It's
like,
not the ones with the guitar
What?
strings.
No, it's like some of the newer ones are pretty tackety-ackety, but it's like a cutting board. So it's
I
this
think what
wooden
we're
thing.
finding out is that Becca's deep in the handmade pasta world without making handmade pasta.
No, I mean I'd make it. I told you I can. I've been there, but I don't right now. No, this isn't my scene. But anyway, it's like a board that sits on your counter. That's like a cutting board, wooden, but it has little like a guard sort of along three sides, like a little
that
ridge.
would for sure be why.
But the only reason people buy them now, the vintage ones are lovely. Like they're very cool. These old antique ones. The ones people make now out in their crafting garages are like to cover the top of the oven. So it like sits on top of the oven and just covers it, and then they stencil cursive letters on it. But the old ones are really cool, and I totally want one because it felt like to me then you could do your little flour well thing, and if it sprang a leak, it's all still contained. Well, maybe unless it sprang this direction.
Even doing it on a wood cutting board slows it gives
and I don't
some
even know
friction
because
to the egg. But
yeah, maybe.
my old Formica countertop put up no resistance.
Slickery.
It was just like shooting. It would kind of like going down a metal slide in an old warm-up pan. I mean,
Yep.
if the eggs escaped, they shot out of there.
But
and
I
you
kind
were-
of think the noodle board was for like you would cut your noodles on it and then just they would stay there to dry and that kind of thing. But
I got my fancy captured by the idea that Italian women would crack the eggs straight into their flour bin.
well, that's what they always do in the photos.
And then whiz up their pasta in the middle of their flour bin.
right.
And I was like,
Oh, in their flour bin. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
not a flour
That's
well.
not what I thought.
And it's actually really interesting because if you start whisking your eggs, it picks up, you can make it. It can function like 1 watt in there picking up as much stuff.
Until it's the right. I could see that working because you could go until it was just the right texture.
And it wouldn't run
pick it
out
out.
anywhere. It's
Yeah.
just stuck in the middle of all the flour. But I realized that I didn't want to compromise all of my flour with eggs in it. So
I wonder if you could.
I actually just switched to doing the same
A
concept.
bowl.
Just using much more. Yeah, why does it matter if your flour's in a volcano on the counter instead of in a bowl? I don't know.
But you can make a little volcano shape in the bowl, and then you could still have it contained.
Well, all this is to say that weird things capture my attention in the kitchen, and sometimes this is one of those things that I really believe it's important to act on your impulses and just learn the thing. Just figure out how bad you actually are at that. Don't actually spend your whole life imagining you could do that any moment. Because pasta making is one of those things, or a lot of that kind of stuff. You watch someone do it and you feel like, oh, no problem, I could do that. But it is not, oh, no problem. When you actually get into it, you notice that some things are harder than they initially appeared.
Isn't that the truth with every single bit of life, though?
Yeah, but I feel like it's just good for you as humans to get that feeling a lot. And it's not good. It's not good to go about your life assuming that you could be a precision quilter if only you tried it once.
I could have been a great proficient.
Well, right, because you're like,
if I'd ever learned.
I saw someone hand toss pizza crusts. I could do that. And you're like, no, you couldn't. Try it.
Actually, we had a moment there yesterday where we were with one of these extra ultra sheer thin calzone crusts.
Kind of a phyllo dough.
One of the girls was like, how are you supposed to hand toss it? And I was like, yeah, on the back of your hands like this. And she tossed it and it went into a rumple. And I'm like, no, like this. Put it over my hands. I toss it up. It flips once quite nicely in the air. And then I go to catch it. And it shoots right between my hands into a little snorkel on the ground.
Watch me, child. Watch me show you how this is
how
done.
you hand toss
I will show you the way.
sort of a sheer pizza dough.
But see, that's the thing, is that you can't actually, like, you can't know that you think you're more capable than you are.
Yeah.
But then there's more pleasure in actually learning the skill than you would think there is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, we just go around all the time assuming we have a skill that we don't have.
The thing is, like, a quilt. How hard can it be to sew squares together and make the corners match up? Seems pretty straightforward to me. And then you're like, there you are with it 3/4 of an inch off.
You're looking at yourself like,
why?
What have I even done?
I'm like, I cut it in a square. What's happened? And then you discover that there's probably like deeply, I don't know.
There are ways.
There's women who probably subscribe to one method of ironing the seam.
I was
and
quite
other women who won't even speak to the other women because they iron it the other way.
And I was quite a bit too old when I found out about how you're supposed to sew a button on. Because I felt like I knew how.
Have I learned how to sew a button on? Like, what's your big secret?
I don't have a secret. I'm not saying I'm a big skilled monster at this, but that you actually are supposed to do some fancy footwork under the button. Like you're supposed
where you wrap it around.
You're supposed to wrap the thread around under there to get the button some distance from the fabric so that there's room for the other. It was like, no, I think
it's like why a pea coat always has like kind of a dangly button.
It's like a wobbly button. But you know why? Because it's a really thick wool.
Yep.
And in order for both layers to fit with a button, you have to have a gap. Well, I think I had already spent quite a bit of time in my life trying to cinch buttons so hard onto things that they would never come off without imagining the fact that there's a reason to have it be looser, and it's so that the garment looks better. Like, oh, really?
I know.
So you're saying I haven't understood anything.
Little tidbits that you gain from like trying it and then having to look it up
and just
see,
Googling
like,
how do I make a carrot cake and
then
what box should I buy?
It comes in a box. Oh, that's what I did wrong with the Christmas pudding. I just bought the one on the shelf at the grocery store.
Yeah, because see, that's the thing is
I didn't make it myself.
On anything that we actually know, you wouldn't think you just
all right,
go
I'm going to go in and I'll get my Nigella cookbook out and I'll look up Christmas pudding.
I think I have Nigella's Christmas.
Well, I don't have her Christmas, but I have Feast, and that no doubt has a Christmas pudding
I
in
have
it.
her Christmas one.
Okay, between us, we'll be able to come up with something. But you know what we won't be able to come up with is suet. That doesn't exist in America.
What is it? I mean,
Grated up beef fat.
I know, but
It's like little pellets.
But beef exists in America.
You know, so you would think, but as it turns out, when you live in England...
Suet is the raw, hard fat of beef or mutton found around the loins and kidneys. Maybe we could call someone.
I was going to say, you know Pierce. Ask him about it.
That's what I was going to say. We know someone. Also, you can buy...
We'll do a video of us with a cheese grater making...
a Torah original shredded suet.
Oh, there you
For
go.
fluffy dumplings, pastries, puddings.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the kind they always sold in England. That looks very familiar.
You can get that from Walmart.
Here locally?
You can also buy it from British Essentials, but
we need to sign off. We're boring the whole universe right now.
No, everybody cares. Everybody cares big time.
Rachel's searching for suet. We're already down the road, you guys. I think also I heard that brandy butter is essential. Like, we skipped the brandy butter. You have to light it on fire. You need brandy butter. You need to do something or other to it.
Okay, so this is the year we're going to try harder to feel the love of the Christmas pudding.
We're going to try and get our minds around dried fruits in a suet treacle madness. All right.
I bet they didn't even hear that.
Did you hear Rachel? She honked the horn with her forehead.
podcasting. And I honked the car with my forehead. Oh, it's a good day if you've done that.
Yeah.
All right,
it
you
has
guys.
been. Everyone,
thanks for putting up with us.
yeah, we'll
see
try
you some
to.
other time.
We'll try to be more
Oh
like.
man, this guy's walking by like, why did she honk? All right.
Oh, okay. Stand by for a more edifying time later.
I guess next time we come, we're gonna be really serious Christians.
Serious,
Okay.
indeed.
Until next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.